of the Summerland Kids. I'm live from Santa Clarita, California. I'm at Denny's. As you, I just had my, it's gotten a little expensive out here in California, man.
No,
You
that's
know,
what you're saying.
yeah,
25
it's like
bucks?
freaking. I bet if you were a date, if you were on a little morning coffee slash breakfast date, it would be like 50. It'd be like $60, for two. So
Wow.
it's no joke, man. Yeah.
I remember it used to be like $9. You get a big meal, hot cocoa, coffee, everything.
I know, right? It's crazy. I'm gonna take my earplugs out here and see if I can get a better audio with you. With it. Oh, there we go. Now I got you. Okay. Just
All
so
right, yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes the headphones does a little trip, but
yeah. No, it's up now. It's great. So yeah, we're Coffee with the Summerland Kids. I'm Jerico Woggon. This is Aaron Riggs. I'm on a road trip to get my dad, who's like up in Santa Maria, California. Should be a beautiful drive today. We're gonna drive up to Santa Barbara right now, pretty much, and go stay on top of San Marcos Pass, old Stagecoach Road, and just see the sights, I guess, for the day. Maybe have some breakfast in Santa Barbara. We'll see, go with the flow style.
nice, nice.
Yeah, yep. So I had a
No,
good event.
that's it's an adventure. What, you've been on the road since Friday?
Yeah, I know. I've been on the road since Friday. Friday morning, super early. And it was like 26 hours that trip. So it took
Oh
me
wow. Did you get any sleep on the train?
a little bit. It wasn't. It was definitely like I did crash. I don't know how long I crashed, but it might have been like 3 hours, maybe less. Um, but I just so I arrived in Los Angeles. It was the train was ahead of schedule. Arrived at like 8 in the morning in Union Station, and then went over to Philippe's and had some breakfast over there, and then walked downtown. Went to one of my old coffee shops that I used to always go to, and then a friend of mine, TK, he's Mr. Downtown LA, like an awesome character. He picked me up, and we went over to another cafe and had some coffee, and then we met up with an artist friend of ours, Colette Miller, super amazing woman who paints angel wings. You may have seen some of her work. Whenever you see a person standing with angel wings behind them, like painted on a wall, that's that was really her original idea, and she's been knocked off now a few times, but she's kind of like doing her work all over the world now, where she'll go and get a wall approved, and then she'll do her like mural angel wings in the background, and so people stand in front of it and have a selfie or take a picture of themselves standing with the angel wings behind them.
No,
That's what
that's super cool. That's like
it is.
a little touristy thing where the tourists
Yeah,
can kind
for
of
sure. It
have
makes
some fun.
exactly. It really gives people a super uplifting feeling of the vibe of being an angel, or just that whole. It's definitely happy spirit style. That's for sure. So
Yeah, that's it's so cool how art can evoke and express emotions and feelings. And
yeah, absolutely. So it was good to catch up with my friend Yuri. Like Yuri and I connected in 2009, and we got a place together. Yuri had broke up with his girlfriend, and at the time, and I was coming from Colorado, coming back to LA at the time, and I found this super sweet spot, and it was I had my experiences downtown, where I had learned enough to kind of embrace the grittier part of downtown. That's where Yuri's at. So, because when I first came to downtown from Summerland, it was kind of all so overwhelming and trippy.
it's a big city compared to
It's,
little old Summerland.
I know exactly, man. So I felt like I was in a cave down there for a bit because I stayed, at this cool hotel that's not there anymore. It's called the Standard. So I stayed at the Standard Hotel for a couple of nights, and I just went on Craigslist. I was looking for places to stay or places to rent. And this one guy said, "Hey, meet me at the coffee shop." So I went down there and I found this address, and I'm like, "Okay, where's the coffee shop?" So I walk in this building, and it turns out it was an art store. So I'm like, "Wait, there's an art store, a coffee shop, and I can live upstairs." So I'm like, "This is the winner." So I got
No,
that
that's
place.
awesome.
Yeah, so that was like in 2004, and I got that loft, and it was an amazing space. And I had been taking care of my friend Bomber, the old drummer from RKL, Rich Kids and LSD. So I had a real blessing with Bomber because his partner was super, you know, I would say sympathetic and just a sweet person who sponsored me for a few years when I first came to Los Angeles. So I really had a blessing in terms of like, you know, being an artist is always challenging to, you know, pay the rent, keep the balance, you know, between, you know, work and play and all that good stuff. And so that really blessed me in my beginning my adventure in LA was a sweet beginning. And I always sort of kept ahead of the curve and kept moving to location to location to location, always staying, what do you say, one step ahead of the rent, you know, in terms of like a good deal. So I made it sort of like a thing to find good deals. I mean, how do
Yeah,
you,
you
you
kind of
kind of
have
have
to.
to. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
as an artist, I know that a lot of times the artist is not surviving from the art until much
right.
later in their career.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, in Santa Barbara, when I was up there in my early 20s, you know, we started this Halloween party, and the party it got to a point where I could, in fact, like take a month or two off work to throw the party, but it would just seem like it would break even. I'd get my money back from my investment from paying all the security and the DJs and all that stuff I'd have to pay to make the party happen. But I'd have to go right back to work like the next work day. You know, it wasn't like, all right, I'm on. And I did have a second where I tried to go full time with it. And I had my friend Brad Knack, which is an amazing Santa Barbara artist. He's been there forever and super cool. So Brad and I started a funny thing called Party Makers LTD, where for a minute we did a series of parties, and they were great parties, and everyone was super happy about the events we were doing, but it wasn't like a sustainable at the moment, you know, venture. So, you know, it's
Oh,
so
absolutely,
challenging, man.
absolutely. I mean, it's one thing to be a wedding
Yeah.
party planner or an event planner, but to get into the game, you can't just show up and be like, "Oh yeah, I charge
Yeah,
$5,000 to
exactly.
plan an event." You kind of
Got to build your cred.
you got to have
Yeah.
some
And
things
I would
set
make
up.
deals with the owners of the clubs where I would take the door cover charge and they would take the bar. Um, but you know, in some events I did bring like 1,000 people. Like when I was 28 years old, 1,000 people showed up at my party and they all paid and they all got in. They all had a good time. And then the year after that, 1999, I had 888 people. And that event, everyone paid $20 a head. So that was the first time I actually feel like I made money at one of my events. But that was after putting in like freaking 11 years of work to finally make a profit.
Yeah, that's wild, Jericho. I think I lost you for a little bit, but I just think that stuff like what you're doing with the party planning. Yeah, it took you 11 years to get to the point where you actually make money. Um, and I think the younger generation doesn't really
Okay, I'm back.
understand
Sorry
that.
about that. Um,
Awesome.
can you hear
I
me?
was just telling them how the younger generation I don't
Do I
think
got you?
understands how you got
Uh,
to put in years and years
get
and
audio,
years.
audio. Let's see.
Uh-oh. Let's let's see if this works. I hear
Can you hear me
you.
now? You can hear me? Okay, I can't hear you. Um, let's
Okay.
see. Try to get your
I don't know
audio back.
why, but
Maybe I'll log out and log back in. Let me see.
I've
Hold
been
on one
doing
second.
the refresh thing. Just stand
Crap,
by.
crap,
I'll
crap.
refresh and level 3.7. We got to still get these bugs out. Um, I don't know what's if Jericho's going to come back in with be able to hear me. I could tell that the system is picking up my audio, so that's the bubble. Um, so let's hope Jericho can hear me
Yeah,
now, because
yeah. I'm back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So my friend's trying to hook up with me, but I'm not sure where he's at. But anyways, yeah. So, you know, just the LA adventures, man, of like being an artist and trying to pay the bills and all that stuff. But like I said, fortunately, I had a good sponsorship situation for the first couple of years, and then I managed to fall back on my old trade, and I started doing old cars. And I had a couple of wonderful clients that had me do some really nice cars. And then, of course, reconnected with my old boss in Carpinteria. And that was really cool because I was able to actually balance that. I would go up to Carpinteria for a couple of days a week and like 3 days on. And then I had 4 days off in LA. And then that parlayed into another situation where I only had to work weekends because I worked a party on weekends, essentially. So I've had some good games, you know.
No, it sounds like a lot of fun, not just
Yeah,
the party itself, but
I
there's a
know.
lot of behind the scenes stuff. I was
Yeah,
kind of
I
looking at the
know.
IDBM since we're talking Hollywood and LA.
Yeah.
I was actually in a movie with Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder.
Wow.
I was the background elbow, the background shoulder. I think that
Classic.
they caught my hair on a couple clips, but
Yeah.
my face was pretty much hidden most of the time. But it was still fun because
Yeah.
I got to do the whole from the start when the production directors came to town. I started doing the production assistant stuff,
Right.
and that worked into um, an extra
Oh,
on the
nice.
on the thing, and then so I got to see the whole process as well as the filming to get their final result. People don't see that back end stuff like with a party planner. They see the party, but they don't see all that work that goes in to make it happen,
Yeah. Yeah. And I
all
would
the
just
organizing and stuff.
exactly. I would dedicate myself so wholeheartedly from morning till night. And at the time I was like in my early 20s, I would go out like on for sure weekends, but literally like every day to promote my event and hand out invitations to the event. So that way I would feel super confident by the time the event was getting close, that people were going to show up because my whole paycheck was based on attendance. I had to have people coming to the party and paying the door cover charge for me to even pay everybody at the party. Because
And people that's all the promotion side, right? The
yeah,
flyers, the
the flyers,
invitations,
the invitations, the before the internet, man, I had a whole phone list of my friends so I could call them and make sure to tell them about my party. Because I literally I would call a few hundred people to say, hey, the party's on Saturday, Friday night, da 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 da. I'm gonna make sure I'm there. I'm there. Cool, cool. So by the time we were like a week ahead of the event, here comes the trash man. Give me a second. Yeah, there goes the garbage man. So, a week before the show, I'd start to get the back flack, like almost like I was thinking backdraft or something, but I would get people saying, man, I've been hearing about this thing from everybody. Everyone's going. I'd be like, okay, you start to feel a little more confident once you start to get that. I heard about your show. I'm there. I'm there. I'm there. So when everyone's talking about it, and then I worked on people, sometimes I'd work on them for 10 years to get them to come out because it was like people that you always wanted. I would love it if, Wally and Jill would come. And then finally they showed up. Like after me inviting them for 5 years or 6 years, whatever it took me to get them to come, they finally showed up and they're like, oh my God, that was the funnest time I've ever had. So that was a good
yeah.
feeling. Yeah.
Promotions really people don't get it.
I
It's a
know.
difficult job, they think, oh,
Yeah.
the pushy salesman or the flashy marketing, but
Right.
it's a grind. You got to be on it
Yeah.
all the
I
time.
know. All the time.
You
Yeah.
can't just go one little post and think people are going to show up.
Exactly. And you got to feel in your heart because I felt my stuff in my heart so much, so often, where it was my show and I love the people that I'm inviting and I love the people that I'm promoting essentially like a DJ or a band or whatever that I was having play for the night. So it was really heartfelt on my end. So it was super genuine. Um, and I was always kind of taken aback by other events that didn't put that work in. And then I go to their event and there'd be no one there. I'd be like, well, dude, you didn't work on this. You didn't promote it. You didn't like put your heart in it. But sometimes there's no soul behind it. It's just like a one ad in the newspaper that says, oh, this band's playing. I mean, it's one thing if your band has a following, but if your band has no following, you have to work for to get people to come, you know? So
Yeah, and even like up here, there's the Gold Coast Casino's got like an amphitheater, and they've got top talent coming to the amphitheater,
yeah,
and they're constantly promoting it. You constantly hear it on the radio. You see the billboards, even though it's a top tier um, talent.
yeah, right,
Excuse
for
me a
sure.
second.
Yeah.
I'll be right here, but
Okay.
just
Yeah.
over here for a second.
Yeah. One time I saw Lee Rocker from the Stray Cats. He's the bass player, like the stand-up bass player, and he it was like no one at the show. I'm like, what the heck? I mean, they run their listing. Whoever's the club promoter or the club manager, it's someone's job to make sure that the band gets some sort of PR done. You know, and I learned from that event that sometimes they have a local band play before a touring band because the local band will bring the local crowd, and so someone's got to bring the crowd.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's pretty interesting because we got a couple people possibly lining up for interviews, right? For interviews on our Coffee
Yeah.
with the Summerland Kids show.
Right.
And one of the guys, I don't know if he fits so much. I
Yeah.
might, spin off because he was a pirate radio guy.
Right.
I don't know if there's a Pirates Cove in Summerland. I know there is in San Luis Obispo.
Well, there's Sharks Cove. There's Sharks Cove, but I don't know about pirates, but we all felt like pirates when we were kids down there.
Yeah. And so, and he's one of these promoter guys. He's
Okay.
constantly talking about his show, his alternative
Okay.
news. He calls it World Pirate Radio Podcast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so this is an alternative news thing, and he started like 6 years ago, and
Oh wow.
we were doing just like we're doing now, but I had life hit me, so I left him, and that's how they call me A.W.O.L.
Yeah.
Absent,
Exactly.
not leave.
Totally.
And
No, for sure, bro.
and
No,
I think that like you're saying, the local show, we got 2 viewers right now,
Yay.
and
Yeah.
we
No,
do get some
exactly.
views and shares.
Yeah.
And it kind of becomes our place if we ever get to that point where we're having an interview every week, maybe.
Yeah.
That's our job to promote that person through
Right.
our
Totally.
local shows.
Yeah,
And
through our show and through our work on social media, and I mean, I have a fair on my Facebook feed, sometimes of course I get likes, whatever, but I've never been a real social media person. This is all new for me. I mean, I've been on Facebook since like 2008, and I've been on Instagram probably, I think, since 2012 on Instagram, around that time. But in terms of putting in, it's a unique thing for sure when it's organic growth, when we're not buying followers and we're not paying for followers or anything like that, and we don't, and there's no sponsorship. So we're just two independent guys. You and I are creative independent artists, writing, creating. We are the true creators, so to speak, from the Summerland, and that's something very unique that we have going for us. So I have a sort of very much a passion for Summerland and for my friends from Summerland, because I love you guys. It's like, man, what's up? And this platform, thanks to you, gives us a chance just to have our coffee and talk, but it does go out to a larger audience, which is important, for whatever it is we're essentially promoting, or even if it is just promoting, companionship and broship, and
hang
letting
out,
people know,
smoke
like,
coffee.
yeah, look, exactly, like freaking Dan Taglis, Sean Durrell, Jay Bishop, like all our bros from elementary school. You guys should chime in sometime, tell us about your life, what's going on, how you doing, all that good stuff. That's why we're here, so.
No, it's super cool because Jay actually dropped me a little message because he's seen me on the show with you, and he's like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
let me say hey," and that's so awesome. And
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just really stoked about just hanging out and just getting a good start in the day with you.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
with
That's what's
social
up.
media, it's a trip because you can
I
do all the
know.
promotions in the world, but what happens is you find one or two people that really like you, and they start sharing you out. And it's when your
Yeah,
audience
and that's
starts
important
to you. It's
because it's
like
a natural.
rich kids on
Yeah,
LSD. It's when
yeah.
people they're putting out their flyers, they're putting up their shows, but then their fans are like, "Man, I'm going to this concert. Are you going to come with me?"
I
And next
know,
thing
right?
you know, that one fan has 10 people coming with them
Yeah,
because
yeah,
guys like to go and hang out and
yeah. Exactly. Especially
go
when
enjoy
something
cool stuff.
you remember from childhood or your favorite band from 20 years ago. You know that whole thing. So, well, my buddy's here, man. We're rocking and rolling. Coffee with the
You want to
Summerland
cut the
Kids.
stream short?
Yeah, yeah. I think we'll cut it because Jay's here. Maybe he'll say hi. We'll see. Let's see if he gets out of his car.
All
Um,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
no
yeah,
problem. You're on the
yeah,
road.
yeah,
We got a
yeah. I
couple
know.
oddball times going, but
Yeah,
hey,
no,
you're on the
totally.
road. If we
Yeah,
can get
exactly.
and connect and stay
Yeah,
consistent,
I know,
people
right?
see
No,
us
that's
every
what's up.
week.
I
They
know.
start expecting coffee time and conversation and interesting
Exactly.
things. And who
Totally.
knows what happens when you try. I just want to say, Jericho, I've been getting some
Yeah.
of them pictures in my feed,
Yeah.
and just the one that just struck me as wow. It was like super early in the morning, no traffic.
Yeah.
The fog was there. It looked like it was an ancient picture.
I
But
know,
it was
right?
something you took.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And it's I love that those buildings. I have a real passion for those buildings and then capturing them in the light, and it's the most unique perspective because you can only get that perspective if you essentially live there, and live close to those views, So here's Jay behind me.
You got a guy who's looking over your
Yeah,
shoulder.
that's Jay Bra.
Jay Bra. Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you go,
Okay,
Jericho. Looks
man.
like you
Thank you,
got
bro.
your
Yeah, it's a wrap.
friend.
Coffee with the Summerland Kids. I'll see you tomorrow, man.
All right. Take
Sounds
care.
good. Take care.